All right, re-rolling this Freedom Phil. Like, subscribe, live from the Survival Pod. I want to talk about how your school system is designed to fail you. Yeah. People say, "What do you mean? Your K through 12 is a waste of your time," and I'm just being honest about it. If you think about all the useless crap that you've learned in school that you never used, how most of the people that are taught some form of science almost never apply it. We apply the knowledge that's actually relevant to our day-to-day existence. That's what we really do, if we're being honest with ourselves. And when it comes to the whole thing of, mathematics, there are some mathematics we use on a regular basis, but most mathematics at this point, it's used by a calculator or something on your phone. Most people do not use like their algebra. They do not use their trigonometry and all their other crap. If you are in a field that you actually use it, I understand learning it. But if you didn't have to spend all this time, okay, what about art class? What about PE? And I know physical education is important, but let's be honest about it. You learn how to throw a ball around is not getting you a job now or ever. And what I'm getting at with this is that they waste a good amount of your time when you're a kid and they charge you far more for it. And I know I've said this before, but after 13 years of education, you're good enough to do what? Flip hamburgers, stock dollar store shelves. On top of that, some states, like on the low end, $8,000 per child per year through K through 12, right? Well, the state that I got on the Western Holding, it's like over 15 grand per student per year. So what am I getting at with that? What if, just hypothetically, instead of giving the school system all that money, you just got educated at home and you could take all the money the school system was getting and put it in, like, I don't know, gold, the S&P 500. You bought some raw land and you just owned the property. Like, you'd have to hold on to it for a long time too. You couldn't just get rid of it. Like, you actually graduate and therefore you know the knowledge. Why the hell should you be beholden to this school system that has literally failed how many generations? You get out into the real world and they don't, the one thing they should be teaching you, instead of all this, puppy farts bullshit, they should be teaching you basically compound interest, understanding time-based decision making. Like, hey, you make this decision now, down the road, it's going to affect your future. Instead, we have insulated people from the effects of their bad decisions. Like, for instance, you see people going out there having kids they can't afford to feed. And then they're like, well, that's kind of the way it is sometimes, blah. No. You wouldn't have that attitude if there wasn't a robust welfare system to feed people. You see, that's a lot of the problem. With that robust welfare system, you are insulated from the bad decisions. But if it really mattered, really it was a no shit situation like we've seen with wartime situations, they would get rid of all the crap in the way. So instead, what they do is they waste 13 years of your childhood. You're 18 years old, and someone who walked across the border is effectively more well-trained to do a job than you are. You actually have to get extracurricular to even get a job fresh out of high school. The whole way through K through 12, they're grooming you to go to college. They talk down to you if you want to be a tradesman. Even though tradesmen make really good money these days because nobody wants to be tradesmen, and it turns out we still need them. And if you want to go for something more advanced like electrical engineering, instead of just being an electrician, yeah, totally, I could see that. You want to be a structural engineer, I can totally see that. But we put all these barricades in front of you getting your education at an affordable rate. Like, I have this outlook that is kind of radical compared to a lot of people. If you can pass the test, and you're an American, because we should be employing Americans before anybody. If you can go take the test and pass it, and we'll give you even a harder test if you're not going to some official, certification. We'll make you jump through some hoops. But if you can pass that test, we'll certify you. Like with plumbing, electricians work, and all that crap. Why is it I can do all the work on my own personal house, and it just has to pass code the same as anybody else? So if I'm a guy who actually knows how to do all that work on my house, I can do it all myself and not have to pay for tradesmen. But let's just say I have those skills and I just passed all these things on my own house, certifiedly passed. Why can't I just go take the goddamn test and get certified, be licensed for that without having to get away, 2, 4 years, 6 years of my life? Because they want that chunk of flesh out of you. And that's the same thing with the college education. Why is it we don't see a situation where they're doing more at-home learning? Why is college a business? People talk about the military industrial complex. Why don't we talk about the, industrial education complex? And the grip that those people had in the past has been slipping. And I think a lot of it just has to do that back in the day, how many guys went to college, not because college was like their thing, but because it was just the path they were told to go to. Plus girls liked fucking back then. You know, like even if you were a regular guy and you put, you know, you got to work out, you got to look decent. You went to college, you could meet a decent chick, she could meet you, and you guys could build a life together. Honestly, that whole Me Too movement and like the Star Chamber type of accusation crap that happened when it came to the, you know, the college system, that has scared off a lot of people. That has had a chilling effect. But think about this for a second. Imagine you could just get the education, which, if we're being honest about this, when we allow accredited individuals from, like, say, India, China, some other country like the East Bloc, when we allow, and they say, well, we want to do that so we get their talent on the cheap. Well, wait a minute. Whoa. So we get their talent on the cheap, but you don't want to make it affordable in America for the young people to get that education. Like at-home learning. You know, they say you can do certified college, accredited college at home for a 4-year degree is about 16 grand. Let me put that in perspective. You could work a regular like job just doing some like stuff you would do as a teenager and have that type of money. You could live, work, learn your education home. What if, hypothetically, you were schooled at home? Now, let's take it back to if it costs anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000 plus per student per year for K through 12 for 1 year, and then times that by 13 years. Why can't you have that money? If your family successfully educates you, why shouldn't you get that money? But even further, if the time wasted, this patty cake puppy fart bullshit that we do with our K through 12 education, where you're learning crap that will never do you any good. Now, if you're at home and you're passing 2 or 3 grades a year, and I know this because I had a friend who he could get all his schoolwork done in about an hour or two. He had another 6 to 7 hours to do whatever he wanted, which is generally he was playing video games or just riding his bike or something. Now imagine you got 2 or 3 grades done a year and you're 10 or 12 years old and you're effectively already where an 18-year-old is because you haven't been held back. And that's exactly what we do. We hold back our youth. We waste their youth. Imagine you're like 16 years old and you're already certified to be an accountant. You're ready to be a plumber, an electrician. Imagine how much more success we could have. We got people at the age of like, say, 22 to 26 that are finally getting their feet on the ground in the world. Put that in perspective. How many years do you give away to a system that is designed to fail you and charge you a premium price? If you were able to be like, okay, I gotta be real about this. I used to drive truck. I'm thinking of going back to it. I like it. I enjoy it. But I could have been a truck driver at 14. I could have been a plumber at 14. I could have been an electrician at 14. That sounds extreme to you because you are used to lackluster results. I don't think kids are stupid. Just like I think adults get real fucking smart about when they have to. Like, you ever notice how stupid people are until, oh shit, you're pregnant? Oh shit. And sometimes they're still dummies. They get real smart when life forces them to be real smart. And they stay real fucking stupid as long as they're allowed to be. I've seen kids that do the most dynamic shit on a video game or a computer, and you're telling me they couldn't learn? No, it's too complicated for them. Bullshit. And that's where I look at our entire education system, and it's like that line from the Marilyn Manson song, I don't like the drugs, but the drugs like me. Raised to be stupid, taught to be nothing at all. And if you want proof of that, look at your K through 12 education system. You get out of school, you're good enough to do what? Flip burgers? Stock dollar store shelves? You actually got to get a food handler's card to flip burgers. That's extracurricular. You got to be taught where to put the boxes. You are not educated enough to do anything that matters, anything that can make you any real money after 13 years. And yet, somebody over in India who fast-tracked their education, China, East Bloc, They get a discount education in their country. They move to America. They work for $10 to $20 or $30,000 less than you can work for. They were allowed to have a discount education. You, American, you are livestock. You are slave. You are expected to go out and pay tens of thousands of dollars for your college education. You're expected as a tradesman to give up how many extra years of your life for your education. And that is by design. That is by fucking design. And the fact that more people aren't outraged at the way our system's set up to screw you over, to screw over your children, to screw over your prosperity, teach you shit you'll never use, never need, and purposely remove things that you should understand compound interest. They should have kids having to take after, bastard children. You should have to have a screaming baby around a little bit. That way you might take sex and contraceptives seriously. But what do? They give you a substandard education, a substandard existence, and this happy fart bullshit until reality fucking turns left and slaps you with its giant dick of reality in the face. And you're like, oh shit, I gotta figure it out now, and I got nothing to work with. Sometimes, just as a closing thought, you see some of those tiger parents and people think they're fucking assholes, or like an old Jewish mother or something like that. The parents that give a shit, because they understand the real game. And some of it's all BS too, though. You see some of them parents are like, you have to go to college. If he's not college educated, you do not marry him. That's some bullshit right there. If he's a tradesman and he's making really good money, if he started his own business and making good money, he or she, whatever, then parents need to shut the fuck up. But for the most part, those parents that are trying to make sure you don't get a bullshit education and you don't put yourself into horrible levels of debt, that is a damn good parent. That is a parent that gives a shit. And you may think they're a fucking asshole, but they're actually doing what needs to be done for you. Our system is set up to domesticate you into being a fashionable failure. So an individual like me, when I say, minimalism and retirement by 30 in America, what I'm saying is completely radical because you were raised the complete wrong fucking way. And if you should be appalled at the very start with the K-12 education system. And if you're not, okay, you got to do you. I can't, you can lead a fool to knowledge, but you can't make dumb motherfuckers think. But the idea of some of the shit, like I see people all pissed off about Trump or pissed off about Biden. Meanwhile, their kids can barely read and write. And they done paid how many tens of thousands of dollars? You add it up, just leave this closing thought. If it's like 15 grand per student in the West Coast state that I happen to have one of my properties in, 15 grand per student, times that by 13, then take that number, that huge ass number, put it in the S&P for 30 years, and look at how much money you'd have. They piss away that much money and potential. Also, your kids can be good enough to flip hamburgers and stock dollar store shelves. Fuck the American education system. It's a joke. Peace.